In a small, peaceful village nestled at the edge of a sprawling forest, lived a young boy named Leo. Leo had always been curious about the stories of how God helped people in need. His grandmother often narrated tales from ancient scriptures filled with miracles and divine interventions. Yet, Leo yearned for a more tangible understanding of those stories. One crisp autumn morning, Leo decided to visit Mr. Arthur, the wise old man who resided at the far end of the village. Known for his profound insights and kind heart, Mr. Arthur was a beacon of wisdom for many villagers. Leo knocked on Mr. Arthur's wooden door, and after a few moments, the elderly man greeted him with a warm smile. "How can I help you, young Leo?" Mr. Arthur asked kindly. Leo hesitated but then mustered the courage to ask, "How does God help us, sir?" Mr. Arthur's eyes twinkled as he invited Leo to sit with him in the garden. "Let me tell you a story," Mr. Arthur began. Once, there was a kingdom plagued by a severe drought. Crops failed, rivers dried up, and people were on the brink of despair. The king, a wise and devout man, called upon his people to pray fervently. They prayed day and night, seeking God's intervention. One evening, as the sun set, a weary traveler arrived at the kingdom's gates. He carried a simple wooden staff and wore a cloak covered in dust from his long journey. The traveler was welcomed by the king, who, despite his own troubles, offered the man food and shelter. The traveler thanked the king and spoke of a hidden spring in the mountains beyond the kingdom. Guided by faith, the king and his people followed the traveler to the mountains. After a long and arduous journey, they found the spring, crystal clear and abundant. It was a miraculous sight. The traveler dipped his staff into the spring, and water began to flow down the mountains, rejuvenating the land. Crops grew once more, rivers were replenished, and the kingdom prospered. The traveler, with a serene smile, vanished without a trace, leaving the people to wonder if he was a divine messenger. Mr. Arthur paused, letting the story sink in. "You see, Leo, God helps us in mysterious ways. It isn't always through grand miracles, but often through the kindness of strangers, the wisdom of the elders, and the strength found within ourselves." Leo left Mr. Arthur's home with a newfound understanding. He realized that God's help could come in many forms: a comforting word, a helping hand, or even a sudden burst of courage in difficult times. From that day forward, Leo looked at the world with a heart full of faith and gratitude, knowing that God's presence was always with him, guiding and helping him in ways he could not always see.